G'day folks, and welcome to this playthrough of Downfall Conquest of the Third Reich, designed by Chad Jensen and John Butterfield. I am a small part of the way through the first turn. You can see the turn marker way up in the top left up here, turn one. We've played through a couple of sort of initiative rounds. So you can see all the initiative markers along the top here. The way this game works, I'm just going to jump straight into it and sort of explain things as I go, is the player who is lowest on the initiative track. In this case, the Soviets. You can see the initiative track here, two Germans up here with the Americans in the middle. The player who is lowest has the initiative. And they, when it's your turn to play an action, you look at this action round summary chart, basically follow it through. Move the weather marker. If the weather marker is behind you, you move it up to where you are, roll the dice and then move it again. It's ahead of me, so I ignore that. Fill empty hexes at the bottom of the track. Okay, so I slide these action markers down. I draw a new one. It's another Soviet. Then I can pick an order for my faction. Now I'm the Soviets, I'm red. I can choose this, this, or this. I have a choice of 3 markers. Now some of these are double-sided. So for the Germans, for example, if it was OKH's turn, they could choose that marker or that marker, for example. The Soviets have a choice of 3. When you pick a marker, you pay the initiative based on what action you're doing. So the Soviets, it's kind of hard to see. It's a difficult game to play solo because all the Soviets initiative order boxes are up there. But I can read upside down. The recruit action, this one, costs 16 initiative points. So this is a big action. It'll give me 4, I believe. In fact, this is double-sided as well. I can either recruit or mechanize. It'll give me 4 infantry steps or 2 armor steps. This action will give me movement for all forces throughout my, or for most infantry and armor forces throughout my army. Now the order markers are slightly different. Some of them have, well, different types of units. I can tell you that this particular orders marker has the infantry box and the armor box, which means that I can move all infantry and armor in my army. And the last one is an attack marker, and it will let me attack with, what have we got here? Shock troops, infantry, armor. I don't think I have anything else on the board at the moment. So yeah, that'll be an attack order. All right, so I've got a choice here. In addition to that, so this costs, what did I say, 16. This movement order only costs 3 initiative points, I think, maybe 4, while this attack order will cost me 7 initiative points. But you pay based on where they are in the track. So this will cost the basic initiative. Because I'm foregoing the first one, if I choose this one, I'll pay an additional influence point. And if I choose this one, because I'm foregoing these 2, I'll pay an additional 2 influence points. So you sort of encouraged to select the bottom one. They're cheaper to do the bottom ones, I should say. Now, what do I want to do? So I will point out the context. The Germans have already kind of withdrawn from Stalingrad. They've pulled back behind the Dnieper River, no, Donetsk River, sorry, and the no, it's not the Volga. Volga's further east along there. They've pulled back to a better defensive position. They do have a garrison in Stalingrad, but they've they start off along this line here. They've voluntarily withdrawn to try and give themselves a better defensive stance. Who had the strategic? One of the Germans had strategic warfare and they failed miserably. They rolled a 4, so that didn't advance anything either. Look, to get things, just to get things rolling, I think the Soviets want to build up their recruits. So they're going to choose this action, okay? Pick an order, place in the matching box. So I come around, move my coffee out of the way, walk around the table and place this here in the recruit box. This is the second recruit. It costs 16 initiative points. So excuse me as I reach over, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 32 to 42. Now I pass the Soviet event box. So I flip this over to pending event side. You probably can't see that very well, but basically this means that an event will happen in the final step. I then paid the order's cost by advancing my initiative marker, +1 for each faction ahead of my pick. There were none. Then I performed the order. All right, 4 infantry steps. And where do I want these to go? Look, I think around here would be good, around Kursk. There seems to be a bit of a gap in the, not a gap, but a lightness in the line. So I'll go 1, 2, 1, 2. Wow, we don't have many options. 3, we'll strengthen them. And 4. All right, so 4 infantry steps. And we're done. The order is completed. Now I could have picked 2 mechanized steps instead, but just in this early stage, I'm going to try to prioritize some infantry. 4 infantry steps versus 2 mechanized steps. And I like the idea of bolstering my infantry forces. Perform the order. Now I resolve the event. Okay, so let's, I think I've only done this a couple of times. I'm a bit rusty on the event resolution step. Basically, I think I start by, well, I'll get to the rule book and I'll do that procedurally so I don't make any mistakes. Orders, resolving events, page 32. Okay, move the event card in the current box to the discard box. This means that I'm covering up 2 Soviet air units, so I have to remove 2 Soviet air. 1, 2, and they'll go back into their Soviet force pool. I move the current event to the event discard box. Yep, that's done. The high command moves to the current event. Then I resolve the effects. Ready all interdicted subs and fleet. Well, they're all ready. We haven't had much naval action so far. Deploy pending fleets. Pending. We do have a pending US fleet. So this it deploys. Okay. There are no other fleets pending. Okay, Soviet faction upgrades pending guards units. This is new, 10.2. 10.2, upgrade guards units. Okay, place Western fleets in North Atlantic Sea, did that. Soviet faction means that guards units in the pending area. Okay, so we do have a guards unit, I think. I think the star on that unit up there may indicate that it's a guards unit. Let me see. All right, what do we got here? We've got motorized infantry. I'm trying to look for a guide to this. I've forgotten what the star means. Okay, it means it's an elite badge. Does that mean it's guard? Okay. Unit is eligible to replace. What is the Soviet guard unit? Yes, guard. Oh, I have guard on it. So yes, it is a guard unit. Okay. So Soviet faction upgrades pending guards unit. Okay. Guards units replace non-guards unit on the map. Excuse me as I reach over. Okay. If it has a designation that is unboxed and non-guard and is a hex in supply. This is an eligible guards unit. It is unboxed, same number of steps, and set to the same step level. Yep. Now what happens to this unit? Permanently remove the unit and replace it. Okay, so permanently remove the unit. It's removed from the game. Okay, and put other pending units into their faction's force pools. So that then goes into my faction's force pool. Okay. And factions may flip their fortress units to fort troops. Factions may flip their fortress units to fort troops. Okay. These are the fort troops, and that's a fortress, so they can flip over. For both Axis factions, when face up in any 3 box, both Axis factions add 1 to each of their rolls. Now this also adds another Soviet air unit. I might put this 1, 2, 3, 4. I might put it around here. Okay, so we're focusing on this area. It also adds another American air unit. So an American air unit returns. Oh no, sorry, it doesn't add another one. Apologies, sorry. That card was already revealed. Then we reveal the future event, which is Fatherland Front. Okay, so this will be coming soon. This adds another American air unit. So the Americans can grab an air unit and they'll place it in North Africa. Malta, I think, is a legal placement. Air unit placement. Air unit adjustment, page 33, okay. We've removed the air. When we place the units, so the air units match the number of air units depicted on the event card. So there's 2 American air units here, 1 Soviet, so we've got 1 Soviet unit. Now we have 2 American air units. We take 1 from the force pool, place it into any city or rail hex from which supply can be traced. This is a city hex, I believe. City hexes are always controlled. Controlled city hex changes, city becomes controlled. Maybe that's not a city hex. Maybe it has to be Algiers. Yeah, I'm not sure if the name non-city hexes are... There's a description of city hexes, but there's no illustration of what a city hex is. That's probably on one of the guides somewhere that I just can't see. There's a few good player aids, but back of the rulebook maybe. Here we go. A city is a dot. Valletta is a port, but it doesn't seem to be a dot. That's not a dot either. City or port city. Okay, it can be a port city, right? I don't know why the air unit is there. Can air units stack with... friendly units? Any city or rail hex. So this is not a rail hex, so that's legal. And this is a port city. Okay, so I'm counting the city as a port city for those purposes. And that event is done, future event coming out. Okay, and this also indicates that we draw cards. Haven't really used the event cards so much, but this means that this is what we draw. So OKH draws an event and the Soviets draw an event. And I have not played a card yet. There's been so much I've been trying to get my head around that I haven't even been worrying about these action cards. This is the Western Allies and OKH, and this is over here OKW and the Soviet hand. The Soviets have a big hand of cards. Combat, if the hex contains Partisans +2. These are headquarters cards. +1/+1. I should really be thinking about that. North Caucasian Front, if attacking any hex on or south of hex row 29. Not quite ready to use that yet. Combat during snow weather. We're about to trigger the weather, so I'll explain how that works in a moment, but it is snow weather at the moment. Operation Uranus, when you have the initiative before picking a Soviet order, that would have been a good one to use just a moment ago, and another headquarters card. So I should be looking at those, but I haven't been. All right, so that is the end of the Soviet action round. We have resolved the event. The event cards are sorted. We now move to whoever is next lowest on the initiative, which is the Western Allies. They have initiative. The first thing we do though is, per the action round summary, adjust the weather marker. So we move the weather marker up to where they are, and then we roll 2d6 and move it that many more spaces. 4 more spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and because we resolved their event, we flip that over. Done. All right, so now it's the Western Allies turn. And again, we fill the empty boxes so we can slide all these down. Draw a new one from the cup. It's another Soviet. And they have a choice of that, or that. This is basically a headquarters order, which gives them a choice of any one of these operations. So movement or attack. This is a movement order. It's a big movement order. This is a recruit order, and this is a partisan warfare order. To be honest, the partisan warfare order might be good right about now. Don't really need the headquarters order yet. The Americans, they're starting to build up their forces in the United States. So you can see up here, I've started to build some infantry with an earlier recruit order. I'm keen to do that again. They don't have many forces on the map, basically. You can see the presence here in North Africa of the British and the British here. This is very weak. I could flip that over and increase my mechanized forces. What else can I do? I could engage in strategic warfare. So instead of doing this movement, which is pretty early, I'll probably, in fact, I'm leaning heavily towards strategic warfare. Okay, so I need to pay. I take this, I place it down here. I pay 8 + 1 initiative. So 935 brings me to 44. I don't pass an American event, so no event is triggered. And I engage in strategic warfare. Now this is where I basically pick one of the strategic warfare tracks. Now there are 3 strategic warfare tracks. There's strategic bombing up there, Battle of the Atlantic here, Siege of Malta, and they all have different effects. So strategic bombing, if the Western powers are more successful at that, it brings in more elite aircraft. Okay, tracked on that track. So more elite aircraft means better advantages in combat within range of that aircraft and greater range for that aircraft. They go from range 4 to range 5. That could be very helpful. Battle of the Atlantic reduces the number of German submarines in the North Atlantic and adjusts the Western naval strength modifier. Okay, the further left it goes, the better the modifier, the fewer subs there are. And the Siege of Malta reduces Italian subs in the Mediterranean, reduces Italian fleets in the Mediterranean and adjusts the Western naval strength modifier in the Med. What's my priority? I think North Africa is probably my early priority. Having said that, I do want to start thinking about getting forces. So I've got this infantry force in the United States. I do want to think about getting them over to Europe, and that means getting them through the Mediterranean and through those submarines. At present, my naval strength modifier is -2, which is quite punitive. So getting that down to -1, if I shift that one to the left, would be good. I'm less concerned about strategic bombing right now. So it's kind of torn between Battle of the Atlantic and the Siege of Malta. All this will do is reduce an Italian sub. It won't adjust my naval modifier. So I like the idea. I'm going to go Battle of the Atlantic, and I'm going to engage in strategic warfare in the Battle of the Atlantic. Now, what's involved in strategic warfare? It's a 2d6 roll. And basically, I learned from my previous attempt that you want to get more than 4. Strategic warfare, page 26. Let's check the rules and run through it. Strategic warfare. First, if performed by the Western faction, they gain a transport point. Very nice. This is helpful for landing beaches. Then I choose a track and roll 2 dice. So I'm choosing the Battle of the Atlantic track. I'm rolling 2 dice. That's a disaster. It fails and the order ends. Well, that's balanced because earlier, who was it? OKW tried to engage in warfare and they rolled a 3, so they failed. So we're balancing out. It is frustrating because that cost me 9 initiative points to basically do nothing. I got a transport point. That's all I got. That's it. No effect. That's annoying. Perform the order, resolve the event. There was no pending event, so we can ignore that. We're done with the American turn. We then go to the next initiative, and now we're looking at OKW. My one minor criticism of the game thus far is that OKH and OKW, there are distinguishing features. Okay, so OKW have darker backgrounds and white text. OKH have lighter backgrounds and dark text. But whenever I look at the initiative markers, it takes me a moment. So I'm looking at darker background initiative marker, light text. I just would like to see OKW printed below that. Anyway, it's OKW's initiative. We move the weather marker up to where they are. We roll 2 dice. It advances another 8 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they now have the initiative. They're choosing one of these to do. So they have darker background, light text. They draw a new one from the cup, and it is potentially a headquarters action. Now, in addition to, so they have a choice of 3. 1, 2, 3. Headquarters, which they're not really inclined towards because there's not a lot they can do. Material shortages, I'm not too familiar. I haven't taken this action yet, so I don't know what that does. I'll check that in a moment. Or they can always use their reserved order. So every faction starts the game with a planned reserved order. So OKW could use their mechanize, or it's 1 mechanized point. 1 mechanized replacement point, which I believe they could use on the 5th Panzer Army down here. 5th Panzer Corps in North Africa, right? Because that is suitable for a mechanized point. That might be the way to go, just to really hold down North Africa. Material shortages. Let's check out what material shortages does. And the game comes with the summary sheets. So I can look at material shortages. I choose to discard a card from my hand. OKH. So this puts the pressure on OKH to discard their 1 card from their hand. No, sorry. This is OKH. This is where it gets confusing because OKH and OKW, both German factions, use the same deck of cards. So this is this is Western Powers and OKH. Yes, so these guys would either lose a card from their hand, discard a card from their hand, or lose 3 initiative. I don't really care that much about that. I might just leave that there. I think I'm going to do what I said and dig into my planning. So we're going to do a mechanized order. Geez, it's 12 initiative points to mechanize. All right, 12 points, and we skip nothing. So 12 points. 1, 2, we trigger an event, plus 10, 42, 52. All right, what are we going to mechanize? We're going to mechanize this 5th Panzer Corps in North Africa. They're now at strength 3 pips. That's really going to hold down the British over here in North Africa. Okay. I could have improved these guys here, but these are elite. I do have some Italians around here. We've got some garrison, air unit. Yeah, I like the idea of strengthening those guys. They're going to be very strong over here. Could even push back 3-1 with elite. Maybe. We'll see what happens. They're just out of range of their air cover here in Tripoli. Okay. Action is done. I've spent my things. Now to trigger the events, we cover that up. No air units are lost. This slides along and we reveal the next card. This is going to add, okay, so we get 2 new, I'm doing this way out of order, 2 new American cards to their hand. We add a new American air unit. I think I might add this in Algiers because I'm a bit worried now. All right, so new air unit comes in. As long as this card is face up, the Western faction adds 1 to each of its rolls. Okay, so that's a perpetual event, a sort of ongoing effect. Okay, this is the Fatherland Front event. If any Bulgarian units are on the map, there are Bulgarian units on the map, resolve the first of these situations that applies. If any hex in Bulgaria is controlled by a non-Axis faction, no. They're all Bulgarians. So the Bulgarians are split between OKW and OKH, which is very interesting. No hex is controlled, so we ignore that. If any Bulgarian units are more than 6 hexes by walking route from a hex in Bulgaria, there are no Bulgarians out of home, so we ignore that. Bulgaria gains then an infantry step assigned by the player resolving this event. Well, this was an OKW, so they want to improve. That's right, it's OKW, right? Yep, OKW, they want to improve an OKW step. Done. As I said, my main confusion is coming from the OKH, OKW distinction. This is OKH's deck of cards. This is OKW's deck of cards. So it's basically the Soviets control OKW, the Western powers control OKH. I need a little marker to remind myself of that. I wonder if I can just use one of these because this is, no, that's, if I put that on there, white text, maybe as a reminder. I don't know. I just have to remember that. Have to get it into my head. Okay. That is the end of their turn. Their pending event marker is flipped over and it's back to Soviet initiative. The Soviets slide everything down. There's nothing to slide down. They've got a choice now of a movement, a combat, or a Stavka choice. And they could benefit from a move. Yeah, they could really benefit from a move here. And because the Germans have just pulled back a little bit, the Soviets will do this action. They're going to move. All right, so we put that in the correct box, which is this box here. Some of them look very similar. 4 initiative points, 1, 2, 3, 4. Every infantry and armor unit in the Soviet army, Soviet force, gets to move 3 movement points. The back of the rulebook has a nice map key which summarizes all movement costs. Time to move out of the Caucasus down here and move up towards Crimea. All right, so we're moving along. It's snow turn as well. So, okay, mountain hexes are difficult. Mountain hexes are difficult. When difficult, a move in or out of the hex is limited to 1 hex total unless across a rail hex site. Well, I'm following a rail hex site here. When I follow a rail hex site, it's 1 movement point to enter any hex. So 1, 2, 3. Easy enough. 1, 2, 3. We're going to get really close to this unit down here in the south. Then, how are we going to deal with the situation around Stalingrad here? I could, go straight in and smash Stalingrad. But I need to think about what next. And I'm thinking about this security force here in Rostov. I'm thinking about getting across the Donetsk River down here in the south, or in the very least, this is also a low quality unit. The triangle there means it's low quality. That may be difficult to see, but I can assure you it's a low quality unit, which I think suffers a penalty in combat. Problem is zone of control, and I think zones of control do stretch across rivers. I'm going to double check that. Zones of control. Yeah. They do go across rivers. So that kind of pushes me towards doing this. 1, 2, 3, and moving in on Stalingrad. Yeah, we'll take care of Stalingrad, clear out that security detachment. That won't be hard. And then around here, where's the weak point? That's an elite unit, elite armoured unit. This is not. And it's level 2, 2 steps. Let's push in here and see what we can get to happen. All right. And that's all the movement. So yeah, we had 3 movement points. We kept within that. No event triggered. That's the end of the Soviet turn. Now we get to next level's initiative, which is light colored units, black text, OKH. They are going to start by shifting everything down, drawing a new order out of the cup. It's another Soviet order. They'll check what is double-sided and flip relevant units to their side. So they've got a choice of 4. OKH, so they can attack on the Eastern Front. They can use an OKH order. So this is their orders down here. They could also draw upon their movement order that they've planned ahead. It's early, it's very early. Let's see what their cards are. So this is, Western Powers and OKH. So this is their hand. Draw 2 cards, play at the start of your order, combat with your Axis minor or fortress unit. Okay, +1 combat if I engage sort of Romanians, Italians, Hungarians over there. Or select all your Axis factions units in 1 hex with no fortress units. Select an empty hex adjacent to the selected units. Relocate all the units to the selected hex. So it's basically a retreat order. Interesting. What do I do? Draw 2 cards and discard 1. I don't see, why wouldn't we? We'd probably play that one, hey? Play at the start of your Axis order, draw 2 cards. Discard 1. So this is a situational action, they're called. They can be played when the situation on the card applies. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to play, draw 2 cards, then discard 1. Sorry, getting in the way of the camera. 1, draw 2 cards, discard 1, where the defending unit with a valid retreat route I've got 2 breakout cards now. They could come in handy, or +1 in combat. Fighting withdrawal. Eliminate all defending forts and retreat defenders 1 hex in combat and the combat. So basically minimizes the impact of combat. Breakout. Do I need 2? No, I'll discard that. So I drew 2 cards, kept 1. Orders. What order am I going to do? Combat. Is there any way I can really weaken these Soviets? I don't think there is. I kind of just want to... what other options are there? Material shortages? We'll wait and see. Kind of in response. I'm responding to what the Soviets are doing. I've already pulled back to better lines. Maybe I should have pulled back in the far north, but it's only a 1-step infantry unit up there. I'm going to use material shortages. Okay, so this is going to cost me... Oh, I can't because I've already done material shortages. I cannot choose that event because I've already used that. Okay. Do I really want to fight? Is there anything I can really attack and hurt? Soviets look to be in a pretty good position along their front. Maybe here? Okay, let's do combat. Let's see how combat works. So, 3 combat. This means that these types of units can engage in combat. And I think it means I can have 3 combats. Whereas on the movement, it refers to their movement allowance. For combat orders, it tells me how many combats I can initiate. All right, so attack ops. Yep. All combat units are activated. At least 1 unit must be a unit shown the active units. Okay, so how does this actually work? Let's go to land combat. And where do I want to attack? I think here is where we're going to start. I declare combatants. So declare an enemy occupied hex to be attacked. It's that one there with the 10th, 16th, 61st Soviet Army Group. Declare 1 friendly unit to be the primary attacker. These guys are elite, so they'll be the primary attacker. And these guys will be flanking attackers. Okay, I can play action cards. I don't really have anything that helps me in this case. The defenders though, Soviets got a big hand of cards. Is there anything that helps them? Combat during snow weathers. If they're defending, treat the weather as if it were mud. Okay, what's that mean? Okay, so it reduces their attacking armor unit to nothing and gives them a -3 modifier. That could be a good one. All right, so the Soviets are going to play Winter Warfare. During snow weather, treat the weather as if it were mud. So this is so their attacking armor gets no modifiers anymore. It would have got +1. Cancels out I would have had air superiority. So it kind of cancels out my air superiority, but the attacker now suffers negative, is it a -3 modifier? What's that -3? Yeah, -3 modifier to the die roll. Okay. It is in an oh no, it's kind of hilly, so that not affected by the weather. It is a hill, so defender strength +2 in that terrain. Okay. Okay, defending faction can play any number of combat action cards, any number of combat cards, so they can play multiples. Yeah, that's all they'll do. So it is technically snow weather, but we're treating it... Oh, actually, we've passed. Sorry, I did miss that. No, we're in weather... No, we're in weather period 2. We are in snow. Okay, calculate combat strengths. So we start with our primary attacking unit, which is 3. We have 1 flanking attacker. We go up to 4. It is snow, so we would get extra, but we cancel that because it's mud. +2 per German armoured unit in fair weather. No, it's not fair. It's not fair. I have more elite badges than the defenders, so +1. And +1 if the attackers include a German unit, which they are. So the Germans get a +1 for attacking. So 6 strength for the Germans. The Soviets have 2 +2. Let's go through this one at a time. 2 +2 for the hills is 4. That's it. Okay, so defender strength of 4, 6 to 4. We then work out the combat differential. Well, 6 minus 4 is 2. So we have a difference of 2. So attacker strength minus defender strength +2. Now, so this is the column we'll be rolling on. We work out the dice roll modifiers. So I know I'm +2. So I'm going to roll this. 8. So we're looking at a base result of 8, but there are various modifiers that apply. Headquarters and combat cards. What did I play? This is, yep, no modifiers to combat. Okay, the weather is mud, so it's -3. 1, 2, 3, we're down to 1, 1. Who has air superiority? Nobody. 1, 2, 3. It's outside of range of Soviet air. So nobody has air superiority. The defenders aren't isolated. So the result is 1, 1. For each hit received, that side must suffer 1 step loss. Priority is to flip an armoured unit to its non-armoured side, or reduce reduce the unit by 1 step. The first hit received by the attacker must be applied by flipping an armoured unit. And the first hit received by the defender must be applied by reducing a fortress. So the Soviets now have to either, up to half the hits rounded up, may be converted from a step loss into retreat of all surviving defenders. So I can retreat to save a step loss. I don't know how frequent Soviet steps are going to be, so yeah, I'll convert that into a retreat. The Germans may advance, up to 2 surviving attacking units, primary or flanking, may advance into the defending hex, but they don't want to, actually, yeah, these guys here, the flanking unit, will advance into that better terrain. It's better defensive terrain, gives them a +2 modifier, and keeps the Soviets, yeah, we'll do that. Okay, so that's 1 combat resolved. Any other combat that the Germans can really do? 6 steps there, although they are out in the open. I don't think so. I don't think there's any other combat that the Germans want to do. They do get a +1 modifier just for attacking because they're, again, in this game, this is all about the downfall of the Third Reich. And you expect them to lose. So when they do counterattack, they get that modifier. I think that's it. We're done with the Germans. And now we move to O. Did I move their marker up? Did I pay the initiative? I cannot recall if I paid the initiative for them to do that action. I think I've completely forgot. It should have cost them 7. Okay, which brings us back to the Western powers. Western powers begin by sliding everything down, drawing a new order out of the cup. It's a nice one, potentially strategic warfare. Okay, and again, they can recruit or use an order. What do they want to do? We do have, look, we've got air power here. Okay, here we go. I'm going to take this headquarters. I am going to choose to attack. I don't want to attack too much though. Really, all we're looking at is one combat over here. Way down south, there's not much else going on. So we'll do this, which costs 6 initiative points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We do pass the American event, so we'll trigger an event and we'll go straight into combat. Here we go. We've got the British here, 6-1. Oh, sorry, 4-1 against the Italians. Combat. Let's see what we can play. Combat with a Canadian, Commonwealth or British unit in snow weather has a +1 modifier. Look, I'm already for actually, yeah. Let's throw this out. Let's try this. Snow effects +1 modifier. This is the only OKW card. No, I'll hold on to it. So, straight into combat. Here we go. It's all summarized on this sheet. Declare the hex to be attacked. I'm attacking the Italians here. We have 1 combat unit, no other friendly combat units. I've played an action card which will give the British +1 modifier in snowy weather. We have a strength of 4, 5 for the combat card. They are not elite. Okay, so looking at strength of 5. Oh, they have a Western combat unit, 6. The defender is 1. In a city, 2. That's it. So 6-2. That's a differential of 4. Die roll modifiers. The weather is snow, so it's -2. Actually 1, 2, 3. They're just outside air superiority. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so they don't get that for Malta. So air is tied, so there's no benefit there, which means it's a +2 modifier. So we're looking at a +4 differential with a +2 modifier. +4 differential. Have I worked that out correctly? Oh, there is, incidentally, here we go. Let's use these column and dice modifiers to work it all out. So I believe it was, what, 6 + 6, 4, 5 for the event, 6 because it's a Western combat unit, versus 1, 2. So column 4, dice roll modifier was -2. Why was I thinking +2? Yeah, -2. Yeah. So column 4, +4, whatever we roll, -2. It's an 11, -2 is 9, which is 0 attacker, 3 defender. I can tell you that they are not going to survive. Up to half can be rounded up, so they can do 2 retreats, but 1 step loss. So the Italians are eliminated. And let's work out our advance. If the defending hex was vacated, up to 2 attacking units may advance 1 hex. That's it. The attackers advance just 1 hex. All right, slow grind. They can do more combat. They could do a combat here if they want. 1, 2, 3, just outside that range of that air. That's frustrating. Why did I place it there? For the future. What else? What other combat? Nothing really that I can see. There's not much early combat. Maybe I should have moved these forces up instead of leaving them behind here in Cairo and the Middle East. Oh well. Now we resolve an event. So we remove this. We have to remove now a Soviet air unit and a Western air unit. We'll remove that one from Malta, not doing much. As long as he's face up, the Axis get +1 to their die rolls, but the Western faction also gets +1 to their die rolls, so it kind of cancels out. Okay, we move that event to there. That event gets to there. Soviet reinforcements. Okay, so is this a reinforcement just like the recruit, or is this something different? Reinforcements. There's no index entry for reinforcements. I think it must just be a straight reinforcement onto the map. Reinforcements. This is called Arsenal of Democracy. There's no summary of it. So I'm going to assume it is just like, I'm just looking for the order for recruit to see if it uses that word. Faction gains 4 infantry steps. Yeah, I think it's just Soviets get 1 armoured reinforcement, so they'll bump that up to a 3. Western allies get 1 armoured or 1 infantry. They're going to bump this up to a 2, strengthen their force in North Africa there. That's the event resolved. New event is forthcoming, United Nations. We get another American action card. All right. OSS Espionage, cancel an OKW event. That could be a good one. And we add another air unit. Now I'm going to place this air unit in a slightly better position on a rail line. There we go. I can place it on a rail line in supply, so I can place it right there. That'll give me air superiority here. Good to know. Okay, so what haven't I touched upon? We've done strategic warfare. We've had combat. We've had movement. Like I said, the Americans are slowly building up. This is quite a long grinding. It's not fast. We're only not even halfway through the first turn of an 8-turn game, so it's a slow build-up. The Soviets have been sort of slowly getting ready, building up their reinforcements. I'm taking my time, not rushing into the attack, I guess. And the Germans are playing it safe, pulling it back. We haven't done naval warfare yet. And when does that come in? When we're moving troops across the ocean from port to port, things like that. When we're checking supplies. Yeah. So we haven't had much naval warfare yet. That's the only thing that I haven't really touched upon. But yeah, basically there's an opportunity to intercept. Fleets can become interdicted. You flip them over and they're then sort of inactive. You can sink other ships, things like that. I think, haven't done much. But yeah, that's how it works. All right, folks, I will wrap it up there. Hopefully it's given you a sense of what this is like to play. The whole initiative system and the orders gives you a lot of choice and flexibility. Check it out if it's of interest. That's Downfall. Thanks, everyone.